I think probably for most of us, the idea of feeling overwhelmed by the pressure and not having enough time to do what we need to do is probably
Mhm.
the essential thing that the other two are really, really important. But I think that's the one that actually derails our success most often. We spend more in time being busy than we do being productive. And we don't live
Yeah.
with the intentionality that we used to because we have so many things to draw at our attention constantly. So I would love to get into that. I've got some good things to share with people, and it's a really tough subject.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny. I think I do want to just let you go on that, but I also want to say I want to talk about later this idea of balance because it gets talked about over and over again. And I've got my own thoughts on that. So maybe after you unpack some things about conquering overwhelm and time management, maybe we could get into that. So take it away.
So, one of the things that we're all facing now is you and I talked about this a little bit is the idea of cognitive ease. And what the idea of cognitive ease is that we tend to do things that don't challenge us. Scrolling through our feed is one of those things. Not thinking very much, getting a confirmation bias going where all our ideas are kind of in an echo chamber. And what happens is the brain kind of goes into a neutral pattern then. And we're not really geared to be like that, but we don't have a very good sense of time. We're all one of the reasons we use a timer in training is because you cannot be trusted to tell time well. When we do something very well, it feels effortlessness and it feels like it took no time. And when we do something
Hmm.
poorly, it feels rushed. And I think a
Hmm.
lot of us are living our life in that rush sort of feeling because we're doing a lot of tasks. We're very busy, but we're not being intentional about our task. And I'm not going to say you can make a calendar and you can switch all these things, but I want you to know that we're all kind of feeling this way. And
Hmm.
the thing for a human being to feel truly alive is challenge. If we're not challenging ourselves mentally and physically, and we're not taking risks to become better, we're going to find ourselves discontent. And we are facing a national epidemic of depression right now because while people
Hmm.
feel really connected and busy, they don't feel content. And this
Hmm.
is what time truly means to us. And it's something that we'll dive into how to develop the work and how to become more meaningful with it.
Yeah. I've got so much I could say about that just right out of the gate, but I
Mm-hmm.
wanna leave I've been reading a book called The Comfort Crisis. I'm gonna wait until
Mm-hmm.
towards the end of the broadcast to share that with people, but that ties in exactly,
Mm-hmm.
to what you're talking about. And I was gonna add to that, and then if I didn't write it down, so it went in my head, and now it went, "Oop, it's gone." And that is how my brain works sometimes. And if you said it
That's
again, it would trip it again, I'm sure, and I would have it back right in my head, but
I think that's how we all work, though. That's part of it. Our cycles of concentration are fleeting, and it's hard
mhm.
to stay on task. And that's what this time issue really is.
I just
How do we get it?
demonstrated it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, that was totally planned.
Yeah. So when we come down to training, we have to really identify what is essential. What is our clear goal in this? What is essential to training? And when I speak to people, they think they need to dry practice, for hours a day to get where they want to, and it's simply not the way we work. The overwhelmed feeling is there's an effect called the Zernike effect, which means that we remember incomplete task and we forget completed task. If you find yourself constantly feeling overwhelmed or you're woken up in the middle of the night, what you should always do is write out a simple plan of how you're going to attack these things. This will give you tremendous time that you didn't have before because this effect makes us constantly concerned about things that we haven't completed, that we feel are incomplete, and they gnaw at us and they eat our attention and they take up the very small bit of processing power we have as human beings. So making a basic plan is always the first step. And I know there's no coach in the world that hasn't said that, but a simple plan of what is essential for you is always the first step.